The royal decree Emperor Zalthar stood in the center of his massive throne room, his 8-foot frame towering over the assembled generals. His silver scales caught the red light from the twin suns of his home world, and his 4 arms gestured dramatically as he spoke. The Crimson Empire had ruled 47 star systems for over 2,000 years, and Zalthar had never known defeat. "My lords," his voice boomed across the crystalline chamber, "we have found another world to add to our collection." His yellow eyes gleamed with anticipation as he activated the holographic display. A small blue planet appeared, rotating slowly in the center of the room. This insignificant rock is called Earth by its inhabitants. General Vex stepped forward, his mechanical arm whirring as he saluted. Half his body had been replaced with cybernetic implants after a battle on the rim. Worlds, making him one of the most feared warriors in the galaxy. "My Emperor, what resistance can we expect from this world?" Zalthar laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Resistance? These creatures are barely out of their caves, General. They use primitive chemical rockets to travel between their world and its single moon. Our scouts report they still fight with explosive projectiles and metal vehicles that crawl along the ground." The Emperor walked to the massive window overlooking his capital city. Millions of beings from conquered worlds worked in the factories below, building weapons and ships for the Crimson Empire. They are called humans, General Vex, soft, pink creatures with only 2 arms and 2 legs. They live for merely 100 of their planet's rotations around their star. What could such short-lived primitives possibly do against the might of our eternal empire? General Vex studied the holographic data streaming beside the planet. "The population is significant, my Emperor. Over 8 billion individuals spread across 7 continents. They have divided themselves into nearly 200 separate nations, each with its own military." "Perfect," Zalthar replied, his scaled lips curling into a smile. "Divided enemies are weak enemies. While they waste time arguing among themselves, we will descend from the stars and claim their world. How many ships do you require for this conquest?" "For such a primitive species, perhaps 500 vessels would suffice," General Vex suggested. "Our energy weapons will easily penetrate their metal armor, and our shield technology will render their projectile weapons useless." Zalthar turned back to his generals, his 4 arms spread wide. 500? No, my friend. We will send 3,000 ships. I want every being in this galaxy to see what happens when the Crimson Empire claims a new world. Let this be a lesson to any who might consider rebellion." The Emperor's voice grew cold. "And General Vex, I want you to deploy the royal dreadnoughts. These humans should witness the full power of our finest warships before they kneel and surrender." Far across the galaxy, on the small blue world that had caught Emperor Zalthar's attention, President Maria Santos sat in the emergency meeting room deep beneath the White House. The room was filled with representatives from every major nation. On Earth, their faces grim as they studied the intelligence reports. "Ladies and gentlemen," President Santos began, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what she was about to reveal. 3 hours ago, our deep space monitoring stations detected an enormous fleet of unknown vessels approaching our solar system. The ships are massive, each one several times larger than our largest aircraft carriers. The Russian representative, General Petrov, leaned forward. "How many ships are we talking about, Madam President?" "Our count is still incomplete, but we estimate approximately 3,000 vessels," Santos replied. "They are traveling at speeds that should be impossible according to our understanding of physics. They will reach Earth in approximately 18 hours. The Chinese delegate, Admiral Wang, spoke up. "This cannot be natural phenomena. We are dealing with technology far beyond our current capabilities." President Santos nodded grimly. "Our xenobiologists have confirmed what we all suspected. We are about to make first contact with an alien civilization, and based on their approach formation, their intentions appear to be hostile. The British Prime Minister David Crawford cleared his throat. "Madam President, what capabilities do we have to defend ourselves against such advanced technology?" Santos exchanged glances with Dr. Sarah Mitchell, who had been sitting quietly in the corner. Dr. Mitchell was a small woman with graying hair, but her eyes held the intensity of someone who had spent decades preparing for this exact moment. "Dr. Mitchell," President Santos said, "would you please brief our colleagues on Project Prometheus?" Dr. Mitchell stood up and activated a holographic display similar to the one Emperor Zolther had used, but this one showed Earth surrounded by a network of hidden installations. "For the past 50 years, since the Roswell incident, we have been reverse engineering alien technology recovered from various crash sites. We have not been idle." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Dr. Mitchell continued, "We have constructed a global defense network consisting of orbital weapons platforms, underground missile silos equipped with plasma warheads, and a fleet of advanced fighter craft that use anti-gravity propulsion." General Petrov's eyes widened. "You mean to tell us that America has been developing alien technology in secret?" "Not just America," Dr. Mitchell replied. "This has been a joint effort involving scientists from every nation represented in this room. We have shared the technology freely because we knew that when this day came, we would need to stand together as one species." Admiral Wang studied the display more carefully. "How many ships do we have?" 800 advanced fighters, 12 orbital battle platforms, and 6 underground command centers," Dr. Mitchell answered. "We also have something the aliens won't expect. Commander Jake Rodriguez and his Special Forces teams have been training for ground combat against technologically superior enemies." President Santos stood up, her expression determined. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to face the greatest challenge in human history. But we are not the helpless primitives these aliens think we are. We have been preparing for this moment for decades." The Japanese representative, Minister Tanaka, raised his hand. "What about civilian populations? We cannot fight a war while protecting 8 billion people. Underground shelters have been constructed in every major city," Dr. Mitchell explained. "We can house 90% of the global population in hardened bunkers designed to survive orbital bombardment. The public will be told these are earthquake or nuclear attack shelters." As the meeting continued, Admiral Chun was already in orbit aboard the hidden command station Olympus. The station had been disguised as a space debris field for 20 years, but now it was revealing its true purpose. Chun was a veteran of naval combat who had transitioned to space operations when the secret program began. "All stations, this is Admiral Chun." He spoke into his communications array. "Begin Operation Defiant Stand. I want all fighters fueled and armed. All orbital platforms are to charge weapons and prepare for combat. This is not a drill." Around the Earth, hidden doors opened in what appeared to be mountains and hills. Advanced human fighters rose silently into the night sky, their anti-gravity engines making no sound. The ships were sleek and deadly, incorporating the best of human engineering with recovered alien technology. Commander Jake Rodriguez was briefing his elite ground forces team in a bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains. His soldiers came from every nation's special forces, the finest warriors humanity had to offer. "Listen up, people. We've trained for this scenario for years. The aliens will likely try to land ground forces to occupy major cities." Rodriguez was a combat veteran who had served in conflicts around the world before being recruited for the secret program. "Remember, we know these aliens are physically stronger than us, but they've never fought humans before. We use our terrain, our knowledge of guerrilla warfare, and our technology to make them pay for every inch of ground." Back in space, Emperor Zolther's fleet was preparing to drop out of hyperspace. The Emperor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Crimson Destroyer, watching the countdown to their arrival. General Vex, prepare the surrender demand. These humans will have one chance to submit peacefully. Yes, my Emperor, General Vex replied. Shall I prepare the demonstration as well? Of course, Zalthar said with satisfaction. Destroy one of their smaller cities to show them our power. Something with perhaps 1 million inhabitants. That should convince them that resistance is futile. As the alien fleet prepared to emerge from hyperspace, President Santos was making the most important speech in human history. She sat in the Oval Office, but her words were being broadcast to every nation on Earth simultaneously. My fellow humans, she began, looking directly into the camera. In a few hours, we will face visitors from the stars. These beings come not in peace, but as conquerors. They believe we are primitive and weak. They think we will surrender without a fight. The president paused, her voice growing stronger. They are wrong. For 50 years, we have been preparing for this moment. We have built weapons they cannot imagine. We have trained soldiers they cannot defeat. And most importantly, we have something they do not understand, the human spirit. Around the world, people were gathering in emergency shelters, but they were not panicking. They were preparing to fight. Factory workers were converting production lines to military equipment. Farmers were hiding supplies for resistance movements. Students were volunteering for communications networks. We are not the divided, helpless species these aliens think we are, President Santos continued. Today, we are not Americans, Russians, Chinese, or any other nationality. Today, we are human beings defending our home. As her speech ended, the alien fleet burst out of hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. 3,000 massive warships appeared in a formation that blocked out the stars. Emperor Zalthar stood on his bridge, confident that within hours, another world would bow before the might of the Crimson Empire. But as the alien fleet began its approach to Earth, Admiral Chun was already positioning his hidden forces. The orbital platforms were fully charged and ready to fire. The fighter squadrons were in position to strike. And deep underground, millions of humans were preparing to show these aliens what happened when you threatened humanity's home. The greatest battle in human history was about to begin, and neither side truly understood what they were about to face. The shattered, crowned the Crimson Empire's fleet entered Earth's atmosphere like a swarm of metal locusts, their massive ships, blotting out the sun over major cities. Emperor Zalthar stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the blue world grow larger in the viewport. His 4 arms were folded behind his back, and his yellow eyes gleamed with anticipated victory. Begin the demonstration, General Vex, Zalthar commanded. Target the city called Sydney. 1 million inhabitants should be sufficient to show these humans the price of resistance. General Vex's cybernetic arm moved across the weapons console. Charging plasma cannons, my Emperor. The city will be reduced to ash within moments. But as the alien weapons began to glow with deadly energy, something unexpected happened. The space around Earth suddenly filled with brilliant flashes of light. Admiral Chun's hidden orbital platforms had opened fire simultaneously, their plasma beams striking the alien fleet with devastating precision. What is this? Zalthar roared as his flagship shuddered under the impact. Where did these weapons come from? The answer came in the form of 800 human fighters that seemed to appear from nowhere. They had been hidden in the shadow of the moon, using stealth technology reverse-engineered from alien crashes decades ago. The small, sleek vessels moved with impossible agility, weaving between the massive alien warships like deadly insects. Admiral Chun's voice crackled across the human communication network from his hidden command station. All units, this is Admiral Chun. Execute Operation Defiant Stand. Show these aliens what happens when they threaten humanity's home. The human fighters struck with precision that amazed the alien crews. Their weapons had been specifically designed to penetrate Crimson Empire shields, based on 50 years of studying their technology. Explosions bloomed across the alien fleet as human missiles found their marks. Fighter pilot Captain Lisa Park rolled her craft between two massive alien destroyers, her weapon systems locked on target. Phoenix Squadron. This is Phoenix Leader. Remember your training. Hit them fast, hit them hard, and make them pay for every inch of our sky. Her plasma cannon fired in rapid succession, punching holes through the alien ship's hull. Around her, dozens of other human pilots were doing the same, their voices calm and professional despite the magnitude of the battle. Zolthar watched in disbelief as his mighty fleet took heavy casualties in the first minutes of combat. How is this possible? Our intelligence said they were primitives with chemical rockets. My Emperor, General Vex reported, his mechanical voice strained. We have lost over 200 ships already. These humans have technology that should not exist on their world. Impossible. Zolthar slammed his fist against the command console. No species has ever withstood the initial assault of the Crimson Empire. They must have allies helping them. But President Santos was proving that humanity needed no allies. From her emergency command center beneath Washington, D.C., she coordinated the global defense with the precision of a master strategist. Dr. Mitchell, activate the ground-based plasma cannons. Admiral Chun, I want those orbital platforms to focus. Fire on their command ships. Dr. Mitchell's fingers flew across her console as hidden installations around the world came online. What had appeared to be ordinary mountains and hills suddenly opened to reveal massive weapons that fired beams of energy into space. The aliens had never faced an enemy that could strike at them from the planet's surface. The battle raged for hours, but the tide was clearly turning against the Crimson Empire. Their ships were designed for fighting in open space against enemies who fought with similar tactics. The humans were using guerrilla warfare on a cosmic scale, striking from unexpected angles and disappearing before the aliens could respond. Commander Jake Rodriguez was leading his ground forces through the streets of New York, where several alien landing craft had managed to reach the surface. His soldiers moved with the deadly efficiency of warriors who had trained for this exact scenario their entire careers. Remember, Rodriguez spoke into his communications device, these aliens are stronger than us individually, but they've never fought humans before. Use the terrain, use your training, and make them afraid to set foot on our world. The alien soldiers who emerged from the landing craft were 7 feet tall with thick, armored skin and weapons that fired energy beams. But they moved slowly and predictably, like beings who had conquered too many worlds where the enemy simply gave up. Rodriguez's team struck from rooftops and sewers, from abandoned buildings and subway tunnels. They used the city itself as a weapon, turning every street corner into a potential ambush point. The aliens had superior individual strength, but they had never faced an enemy that used the environment so effectively. Alpha Team, this is Rodriguez. I want explosives on every landing site. If they want to occupy our cities, they can do it from orbit. The human soldiers moved like ghosts through the urban landscape, placing charges on alien equipment and disappearing before the enemy could respond. Within hours, the alien ground forces were requesting immediate evacuation in space. Admiral Chun was orchestrating the most complex space battle in human history. His forces were outnumbered nearly 4-1, but they were winning through superior tactics and the element of surprise. All fighters, concentrate fire on the large ships in the center of their formation, Chun commanded. Those are their command vessels. Take out their leadership, and the rest will fall. Captain Park led her squadron in a devastating attack on Emperor Zolthar's flagship. Her fighters moved in perfect formation, their weapons striking the massive ship's shield generators with pinpoint accuracy. As the shields failed, the orbital platforms joined the assault, their heavy weapons tearing through the alien hull. Emperor Zolther felt his mighty flagship shudder as human weapons found their mark. "This cannot be happening," he whispered, his confidence cracking for the first time in centuries. "We are the Crimson Empire. We have never been defeated." But defeat was exactly what he was facing. General Vex's status reports painted a picture of complete disaster. "My Emperor, we have lost over half our fleet. The humans are using tactics we have never encountered. They fight with a coordination and ferocity that defies explanation. They are primitives." Zolther screamed, his forearms flailing wildly. How can short-lived creatures with such simple technology defeat the greatest empire in the galaxy? The answer came from Dr. Mitchell, who was monitoring alien communications from her underground facility. "Because, Your Imperial Majesty," she said, knowing the aliens could hear her transmission, "you made the same mistake that every tyrant in history has made. You confused technological advancement with strength of spirit." Her words were being broadcast across the human defense network, inspiring the fighters who were pushing back the alien invasion. "You thought that because we had not yet reached the stars, we were weak. You thought that because we were divided into nations, we could not unite. You were wrong on both counts." The battle reached its climax as Admiral Chun led the final assault on the alien command ships. His fighters and orbital platforms concentrated their fire on the remaining Crimson Empire vessels, while ground-based weapons provided supporting fire from the planet's surface. Emperor Zolther watched as his empire's greatest fleet was systematically destroyed by beings he had dismissed as primitives. Ship after ship fell to human weapons, their crews crying out in languages the humans couldn't understand, but whose meaning was clear. They were begging for mercy. "General Vex," Zolther said, his voice hollow with defeat, "signal the retreat. Order all surviving ships to withdraw immediately." "My Emperor," General Vex replied, his mechanical voice reflecting his own disbelief. "We have never retreated from any world. The shame will echo through the galaxy." "Better shame than extinction," Zolther replied bitterly. "These humans, they are not what we thought they were. They are something far more dangerous." As the surviving alien ships began to withdraw, President Santos addressed the world once more. "People of Earth, we have won the first battle, but this is just the beginning. Today, we prove that humanity will not bow to tyrants, no matter how advanced their technology." The alien fleet retreated beyond the solar system, carrying with them the news that would shake the galaxy. The Crimson Empire, conqueror of 47 worlds, had been defeated by a species that had never left its own planet. Admiral Chun stood on the bridge of his command station, watching the alien ships disappear into hyperspace. "All units, this is Admiral Chun. The immediate threat has passed, but we must remain vigilant. Today, we showed the galaxy what humans can do when we stand together." Commander Rodriguez emerged from the tunnels beneath New York, his soldiers, having successfully repelled every alien landing attempt. "Command, this is Rodriguez. Ground forces report complete success. The enemy has been driven from all major cities." Dr. Mitchell was already analyzing the alien technology left behind from the destroyed ships. "Mr. President, we have recovered enough alien technology to advance our own capabilities by decades. We can now build ships capable interstellar travel." President Santos smiled as she looked at the reports flowing in from around the world. Not a single major city had fallen to the aliens. The human casualties were minimal compared to what they had inflicted on the Crimson Empire. "Dr. Mitchell, begin construction of our own interstellar fleet. It's time for humanity to take its place among the stars." In the weeks that followed, news of the Battle of Earth spread throughout the galaxy. The Crimson Empire's defeat sent shockwaves through civilizations that had cowered before their might for centuries. If the humans could defeat Zalthar's fleet, perhaps other species could resist as well. Emperor Zalthar returned to his throne world a broken being. His empire began to fracture as conquered worlds declared independence, inspired by humanity's example. The galaxy would never be the same. But on Earth, humanity was just beginning to reach its potential. The defense network that had saved their world became the foundation for the first human space fleet. Within a year, human ships were exploring nearby star systems, carrying with them a message that Earth was no longer a helpless target. Admiral Chun commanded the first human interstellar vessel, the UES Defiance, as it departed Earth's solar system. This is Admiral Chun to Earth Command. We are beginning humanity's first mission to the stars. The galaxy is about to learn what? We learned today that the human spirit cannot be conquered. The age of human expansion had begun, and across the galaxy, tyrants like Emperor Zalthar learned to fear the small blue world that had shattered the mightiest empire in known space. Humanity had announced its presence to the cosmos, and the stars themselves would never be the same. Asterisk.